the idea of doing gender analysis in-house was developed from the very point when we read the EU Gender Action Plan 2 for 2016 and 20. When reading the requirements for 2016, specifically referring to making analysis for the future planning of development cooperation that comes from the European Union to Georgia, there was a decision unanimously taken within the delegation to do this analysis in-house for the reasons as follows. Delegation has in-house knowledge, not only specific gender-related, but also across a different range of sectors that we are in. Number two was always all our support provided to Georgia in the areas related to GAP implementation. And number three was that the delegation is in contact on the daily basis with all these key stakeholders. Probably no more than 3 weeks were needed to collect all that was available. Either the information was already used and available to us in the process of the different project or program implementation, or the information was publicly available, like again Geostat reports or any other similar, or due to our political dialogue and related project implementation, we are on the ground involved in the processes. Again, it could have been reports coming from government of Georgia on implementation of their own Georgian human rights strategy and action plan, or government of Georgia reporting on the implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1325. So this all was available to us due to our everyday work in different sectors. Gender analysis was already used in our delegation for programming. We were in the process of programming major budget support program on public administration, as well as separate major budget support program on rural development, agriculture. But also in all the other projects now coming from our programming, we are trying really, and that is true across the delegation, all the project managers try to have, again, this second thought, how any project can be useful for gender equality. Colleagues present their projects to programs to me when they're drafting it. Colleagues come and ask me to look at their programs to see what is their gender related and how it should look like. So particularly the rural development program was really, I think, being finalized when I was finalizing my own report. So they needed my feedback. So in our case, it works the other way around. They come and ask. And that's how, as I mentioned, the priorities that we selected from GAP are actually reflected in our either now ongoing programs or the programs that will be signed this year. I think the first and the easiest point is to look at any possible linkage of anything that any delegation does in development cooperation to the Gender Action Plan. I'm sure in every possible delegation, in any contract or program, there will be entry points for this. The request is extended to the line managers to try to identify at least one in entire their portfolio element linked to the priorities that hopefully delegations have now selected under the GAP for the next 5 years. Second would be, again, available information and data, and probably in any country you have at least some reports coming from at least UN, or depending on where the delegation is Council of Europe or any other regional international organization. And then obviously if we go a little bit up a stage, then probably to have then dedicated sort of internal terms of reference, then more specifically looking at the programs. But again, it is probably impossible to imagine that whatever any one delegation of the European Union does in any country in terms of development cooperation is totally excluding gender. That could not be.